What's up, my loves? Welcome back to another video. It's your girl Candace, and y'all, I am back. Let me just say happy new year to you all, because I have not posted anything since the new year. So happy new year to you all. I hope you guys are having an amazing start of the new year. If not, I'm praying and hoping everything works out and gets better for you this year. Hope all your goals, your dreams, I hope you guys prosper in everything. So with that being said, I also want to thank all my new subscribers, all my reoccurring subscribers. Thank you guys so much for the support, the love, the comments, all the things, and the new subscribers, y'all. I am very grateful and happy that you guys are enjoying the content and you guys are subscribing. All right, y'all, so let's go ahead and get into today's video, but let me just talk about this overthinking. Your girl has been overthinking everything, okay, since 2026 hit. I had everything planned out, mapped out at the end of 2025. And I'm like, okay, we're going to do this 2026 because 2026 is your year. Okay, you know how we say that every New Year's, y'all. I've been saying, I just feel like the older I get, I'm not even trying to say this is your year type of thing. But I was like, you know what? This is still going to be your year. I'm going to still tell myself this is your year. Okay. Last few years, I have not told myself this is your year. I have not, because I'm like, oh, I'm getting too old for that. I'm not going to say that. But this year, I'm going to tell myself, this is your year. All the last few years, you have been prepping. God has been preparing you for what's to come this year. And I'm hoping and I'm praying that everything turns out good. So with that being said, I'm hoping and praying that you guys also have an amazing year. So with me overthinking, I'm like, girl, you're not about to step into 2026 overthinking everything. So there's going to be some things that we're going to be doing differently this year. So that brings me to this video. I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right, self. We're going to be doing some things different 2026, and we're not going to be holding nothing back. And right now, I'm hyped up, y'all. But that is the plan, okay? That is the plan. I'm going to have to keep hyping myself up because, you know, motivation, it fades. We just have to build that discipline. So that is something I'm going to be doing, building systems and discipline. But let's get into it, y'all. Let's get into some of the things that I said that I'm going to be doing differently in 2026. So let's go ahead and jump into number one. Some of this stuff I've already been working on, but I wanted to share with you guys because maybe y'all feel like me. Maybe y'all been overthinking the beginning of the year. First you was hyped at the end of the year and like, okay, you're going to be doing this and that. Then the new year hits. Now you're overthinking and you're just playing. And I can't be playing. Like, it's time to stop playing. So number one that I have here is I am moving with intention, not urgency. So I've learned everything is not going to happen overnight. It don't matter how fast or how you rush things to work for you. All the time it's not going to work right when you want it to. So I've learned that the more I put pressure on myself to try to accomplish things so fast and try to do everything at one time, I get anxiety. I'm not getting nowhere. I feel like I'm just in a constant rat race. So this year, I'm not going to be trying to rush things when this and when that is going to happen. I'm not doing it anymore. I am going to be moving slowly but surely on my own pace. I don't care what nobody else has going on. I don't care, which I've been like that, y'all, but I don't care what anybody else got going on. I'm not moving on everybody else's time, all right? I'm going to be moving on my time, slowly but surely, whatever I'm aligned with, thoughtfully. I'm going to, if I have to overthink a little bit, y'all, just a little bit, but not too much. I'm not overthinking a lot, but I'm going to be moving with intention this year. So that's pretty much number one. All right, y'all. So number two is I'm choosing discipline over my mood. So I've been trying to implement the 5-minute rule or whatever rule they be saying, which if you think about it, you're going to think yourself out of it or you're going to talk yourself out of it. So instead of thinking about it, just say 5 minutes. Just give yourself 5 minutes. Just start 5 minutes. And I mean, sometimes I do that. So I like, okay, it's going to take me 5 minutes wash the dishes, 5 minutes to clean the bathroom, 5 minutes to film a video, which I know it's going to take me longer. But once I start setting up and getting myself going and I say 5 minutes, of course at the time it's kind of going to tick by. So I try to tell myself that, y'all, like, small wins create a foundation. Like, I'm building a foundation to get to the main goal, but I'm not going to think about the big goal. I'm just going to build that discipline, build that habit, build that system to get me there. And I'm not going to even think about it. I'm just going to do it. All right, number three, y'all, I'm going to be protecting my energy like always. So I feel like this is something that I have mastered, and that is protecting my energy. Like, I've always been that type of person that's always been to myself, but you still have moments where, people kind of mess up your mood and mess up the vibe, the energy. So I plan to continue to protect my peace, my energy, and limit access to who I'm around or what I'm around. And that doesn't mean like everybody is a certain way. If I like some people that I used to talk to in my past, I no longer talk to, that doesn't mean that their energy was bad or off. So let me just kind of say that just means sometimes we outgrow each other. Sometimes the vibe is not right, and of course, yeah, the energy, but it's not always on bad terms. It's just a part of life where you outgrow people. So I'm talking about, well, that, and I'm also talking about like people who really just are evil and, hateful and jealous type of people. Like I just stay away from people like that, because once I feel that vibe and I already know what time it is, I don't even give it a time of day. So that is something that I'm going to continue to do in 2026, is protect my energy. Also with that, I'm going to continue to cut off people that I feel like I'm pouring more into or not pouring anything back into me. I am no longer sitting around talking about this is how a person is or whatever. We all have flaws. We all are different. We all have issues, right? Like nobody is perfect, right? But at the same time, I feel like when you are friends with somebody, or if you're around somebody, I feel like when you're older, you kind of know who's your vibe and what's your vibe, right? So like if I'm surrounded around somebody that I know is just not my vibe at this big age that I am, and I'm just forcing myself to be around them, and I'm forcing myself to pour into them because they may feel like they need it. I feel like they need it, or they complaining and saying that they need it. But at the same time, they're not showing that they appreciate what you're giving. They're not showing, showing up for you as much as you're showing up for them. Like, I am no longer entertaining that, because I don't expect anything back. When you get older, it's like people know what they're doing. All right, y'all. So number 4 is I am letting my identity lead my actions. And I'm not asking what should I do. I'm no longer asking that. I'm going to be asking who am I becoming? Because I feel like sometimes we get lost in the sauce. We're looking at what everybody else is doing, and we feel like we want to try everything. But deep down, we know what we want to do, what we're interested in. And not just that. Once you start trusting in God and putting God first, your identity of who you are start kind of showing up for you. And I am in a place where once I figure out who I want to become and what I want deep within me, I feel like, my decisions become easier. So I will be choosing action that aligns with the woman I see myself becoming, not the habits who I used to be. So that is what I have here. So that is what I'm going to be doing for number 4. I feel like I had to bring myself back to the drawing board, because I had to say, what do you love? And I know the things that I love. So I'm like, let's kind of tap back into the things that you love. And sometimes that brings you back to childhood days. So I also had to go back into childhood days, because the things that I like now is the things that I liked when I was a kid, and I felt like when you pull that old identity back, certain identities, it also helps you figure out who you are, instead of what social media or anybody else that's around you make you feel like who you think you should be. You know what I'm saying? Who you feel like you should be, like the vision in your mind of the person that you see yourself being. If you're somebody who's going through, I guess it's an identity crisis. Sometimes you go through identity crisis, because I'm not even gonna say identity crisis. Well, yeah, I can, but it's also life change. I feel like for me, I recently been feeling like that. It's like you having a tug of war with yourself, where you feel like you're wanting to grow. You feel yourself wanting to grow. You feel that urge of wanting to grow, but you are comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So you're comfortable who you are, but you see the woman that you're meant to be, or the woman that you're actually becoming slowly but surely, but you're battling with yourself, with your old identity and your new identity. So it's like a tug of war game. And it happens. So I guess some people would look at it like a identity crisis. There's different type of identity. Well, I'm not even gonna say a crisis, because a crisis I feel like is one that you're trying to be like somebody else and you just got lost. I'm talking about identity shift is what I feel like that I had or have been going through, which is, knowing the woman that I need to be, and just needing to be strong enough and disciplined enough to become her. That's just what it is. Not lost as in who I am, but fighting with being comfortable and need to be forced to do what I need to do to become her. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you guys are going through something like that right now and you're just feeling like it's an identity shift, not a crisis, but a shift where you're just feeling like you could be that girl, but you're like trying to get there. You're trying to get there. You're fighting with being comfortable and, probably a little bit of self-doubt in there too. But just know it'll work out for you. Just keep praying and keep moving and keep showing up every day. All right, so number 5, y'all, is I am building consistency before expansion. So with that being said, there's a lot of goals that I have been working on in the past, and I feel like I'm on and off on things. And I feel like this time, some of my goals I'm going to, and I'm not trying to have a lot of goals this year. I'm going to drop it down to a few goals, very, very few. And I'm going to stick with those few goals. The plan is, because y'all know life happens, curveballs get thrown, okay? But the plan is to stick to certain goals and be consistent. That's the plan. Be consistent for some of my goals. Once I be consistent, then I can expand, because that's why I said consistency before expansion, because y'all, I am so quick to be like, okay, I'm going to do this, which that can go into that, and then I can do that, and then that, all this connect together, and I got this one big empire. But girl, you have to be consistent on this one little empire first, and then you can build the staircase. And I feel like for me, once I come up with that one idea, the first floor, I'm ready to go to floor 20, okay? So before I build and expand, I'm going to be consistent with the main thing, okay? The main thing is the main thing. That's what I'm going to be consistent with first. So that is the goal. That is something I'm doing differently. I'm not going to be here, there, everywhere this year. I'm going to be focused, be consistent, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it. All right, so number 6 is I am honoring my boundaries without feeling guilty. A lot of times I feel like, setting boundaries can be kind of hard sometimes. Not all the way hard, but it's kind of hard. I feel like I've mastered it just because I really don't associate with people that I feel like is really going to cross my boundaries in a crazy way. But sometimes we don't know, right? So I have dealt with, people in my past, friends or whatever. Once they cross a boundary, for me, I'm going to be honest, I kind of cut them off. Sometimes I don't even have to explain why. It depends on what the boundary is. I don't have to explain why. Like, I just cut you off because you know better, right? The people know what they be doing. So, but far as like for me now, as I'm older or whatever, I would say like boundaries for my friends or family members. I feel like my friends or people that I socialize with, they pretty much, I just feel like I don't even surround myself around people that's going to really, really cross my boundaries or make me feel a certain way. I feel like we're all grown. We kind of know each other. We know what certain people will or won't tolerate. And most of the people that I'm around is kind of similar. We kind of have similar boundaries, so it doesn't, I feel like that part is good, but people still would try it. So, or like, family member, like my cousin, she loved to go out to eat, and sometimes I'm like, look, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I feel she makes you feel bad for saying no about going out to eat. But now I got to a place where, look, girl, I love you, I love you, but I'm not going out to eat today, okay? I got this and that too. And it's like she always would hit me with the random, let's go out to eat. So I am no longer telling her no without feeling guilty. So I'll tell her no in a minute. But before, you would think the world was going to end. Okay, I'm setting boundaries because I got stuff I got to get done. I'm tired of always saying yes, yes, yes to everybody. And when I get home, I'm laying in my bed and I'm mad at the world because I have not gotten nothing done. So that boundary, I am saying no without feeling guilty. So I'm okay with that. There are sometimes, you do have people or friends that you're around that cross a lot of your boundaries, and you probably already told them once before, like, this is what I like, this is what I will or won't tolerate, and they continue to do it. Those people, I feel like when you get older, if y'all not like, you know what I'm saying, like know each other and know each other, how each other is, it's time to cut them off. So I know like when you're in your early 20s, kind of in your late 20s, or just, it don't matter how old you are. Some people still, deal with that. You told people what you will and won't tolerate, and they still continue to push. I cut you off in a minute. Like, no guilt, because if I've told you, I've showed you, and I explain and explain and explain, and you continue to do it, everybody get fed up. That's going to be something that gets cut off. So I feel like that's why I keep my peace, because if you can't respect what I ask, and I don't ask for much, then it can't be us, all right? It can't be any access going on. And I feel like now with that, some people, I can say, have a little bit too much going on when it comes to their boundaries. The pettiness. Some people have petty boundaries. And I feel like if you got a lot of boundaries, or you feel like a friend is crossing a lot of boundaries, and y'all been friends for a long time, but all of a sudden they're crossing so many boundaries, or they have been in the past, and you're just tired of it. You've outgrown that person. So, it's time to kind of move on. And it's also maybe you too. So you have to reflect on yourself to see what's going on within you. Is it that you outgrown them, or is it that you're feeling the way about what they got going on in their lives or whatever? So if you're someone that's constantly, complaining about everything a person does, and you feel like they're crossing your boundaries, then you just got to reflect on what it is. And if so, I would just kind of reevaluate the friendship or the relationship, whoever the person is, because some people can take you there to where they cross all the boundaries. But like I said, I will cut them off. So for me in 2026, I'm going to continue to honor my boundaries without feeling guilty. And that's for everybody. Family, friends, significant other, all of it. So, and they know how I am. They know certain things I don't play about. So, and there's certain things they don't play about. And I respect theirs and they respect mine, and we're good. When you get to a place where you can't respect somebody else's boundaries and they can't respect your boundaries, then you're going to have to reevaluate what it is. But for me, I feel like everybody, once I say what I have to say and how I don't like it, they're good. Same go for me. If I can't, then we got to talk about it. So if you're somebody that's dealing with that, then talk about it or reevaluate whatever. All right, y'all. So number 7 is I am rooting my confidence and faith, not performance. Okay, so this right here, I am reminding myself that my worth doesn't come from productivity, titles, or outcomes. I feel like this is something else when you start getting older, and I'm not even going to say older, but in your 20s. I'm that type of person where I don't like to live with regret. So I don't like to feel like things that I had on my list to accomplish in life, I don't want to look back when I'm 60, 70, 80 years old and I regret that I didn't do it. So some things that I did have on my list early in my 20s, I didn't accomplish. And those things dealt with titles, certain things that I wanted to be and certain things that I wanted to do. And that also dealt with a little bit of the identity thing that I was going through, where I had to realize, like, you know what? Titles don't define who you are. What did I say on here? Outcomes and all those things. I had to realize, like, that does not define who you are. And I know that. But sometimes you have to bring it back, rewind it back. And you have to sit down with yourself and you have to just, like, you know what? You stressing. You bringing all this anxiety on yourself because you worry about a title. But is that something you want to do right now? Is that something, like, just because back then it didn't work for you, is that something that you really and truly want to do right now? Like, I just kind of, not even just if I wanted to do it right now, that does not make you, is what I had to tell myself. Because I felt like I didn't do what I said I wanted to do, and I still haven't accomplished it. So I was feeling kind of like off. Like, I was feeling sad and I was feeling a little down. Not the D word. But I was feeling like, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? This is what's supposed to be the goal. But then I had to reevaluate and say, it's a title. You're not going to stress yourself out over a title. That doesn't mean that you're not going to accomplish it or do it. But I don't want you to get wrapped up in feeling like you're doing it because of a title, if that makes sense. Like I was battling with, I'm supposed to be this, you know what I'm saying? Instead of being grateful for where I am in life right now, you know what I'm saying? So that is why I had to go back to it and ground myself. And I said, that is what I'm going to be doing differently and continue to do differently, is that I'm going to stay grounded in who I am within myself, my identity. I'm not going to feel like I'm not worthy because I don't have a certain title. I know I'm worthy. I know who I am, right? But I just felt like, for me, I wanted success so much growing up. So I felt like I wanted all this stuff accomplished. And sometimes it's just not going to be like that. You know, God will direct your path in different ways. So just because it didn't work out for me going that way or this way, I know it'll eventually work out for me, or whatever God has for me. That particular goal may not work out at all in life, right? But it's okay. It's okay if it doesn't work out, because that was not in God's plan. So that is something that I am, y'all, my thing went dead. But that is something that I'm going to be working on and continue to work on within myself. Because what I learned is that when my identity is rooted in God, seasons going to change. Things in life is going to change. But as long as my identity is rooted in God, everything is going to stay steady. So I had to tell myself, all that identity crisis, as in titles and all this stuff, because, you know, sometimes you see on the internet, people get so much praise of the type of title but they are so messed up inside. And I was like, you know what? I'm right where I need to be. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Because if I'm running behind a title, but I'm not working on myself or who I am, then who am I really? You know, you have people, just think about it. Like, you have people, you go into, you know, a business, right? You go into a business or a doctor's office or something, and these people have these top tier titles, you know, and has the worst attitude, treat you just like you're nobody, nothing. And I had to realize, like, is that something that I want to be? Just because I got a title, I feel like I got power over somebody else? No. If I have a title, I'm going to be whole within myself as well as carrying that title. I'm not going to be, oh, I got a title, so I'm going to run the world type of thing. As y'all know, who has a title right now that thinks he's running the world. Well, trying to run the world. Y'all know what I'm saying? And look at him within. Like, come on. You got a title, but you really ain't. What are you really? Who we are and who we show up as and who we praise and what we do is going to matter at the end of the day. So you guys, that is the things that I'm going to be doing differently in 2026. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope my mic wasn't too scratchy, because I do move my hands, talk with my hands. So yeah, y'all, I hope to see you guys on the next video. Drop a comment below and let me know what you guys are doing different in 2026. And I'll see you guys on the next video.